5. For each order, the website applies 7% tax plus a one-time mailing fee. Based on the information, what will be the total cost for 280 cards? Jeez. Surely work. All right. All right, so this is my Y. So the price that I pay depends on the number of costs that I order, right? So I have a calculator. Okay, here we go. So if I find the constant proportionality, I can find my equation. And Y in this case is 13 over 20. Sorry, K is 13 over 20. And if we divide that, 13 divided by 20, it means that each card is 65 cents. So I can say that the price, the total, is 0.65 times the number of cards, which, I don't know, we'll call it N or C. Okay, or if you just left it as 0.65x, which I should have done, that's okay too. So each card is 65 cents. So if I order 200 cards, let's multiply that by 65 cents. And I get that my total is 130. And, or, I should have just doubled 100 and gotten that, what do you call it? The cards would have been $130. Anyways, so 130. We're going to apply a 7.7% tax. So that's going to take me to 1.077. So the price of the cards, including the tax, will be 130 times 1.077. That's going to give me $140.01. So price of cards with the tax is this. Now, I also have to, it's 280 cards. Oh my God. Sorry. So ignore everything I just talked about. Sorry. Not 200 cards, 280 cards. So 280 cards, again, multiplied by 65 cents. And we got $182 there. Okay. I actually needed that after all. $182 times the tax, 1.077. 182 times 0.77 times 182 times 1.077 equals, so the price of the cards with the tax is $196.01. Now, on top of that, I have to pay for shipping, $5.95, and now we just add 6, 9, 11, 10. So final answer, $201.96. Jeez. Oh no, 6. Oh no. These are constructed responses. Home improvement sold wind chimes $30. Okay, customer signed up for me membership and got a $5% discount and then sales tax. Okay, so by now, hopefully, so with a 5% discount, it means that I have to pay for 95%. And then I have to pay taxes. And remember, tax is something that you add, and if you add 5% to the 100% that I have to buy, it comes out to 105% or 1.05 times 0.95 times 1.05. Literally, my answer is going to be $29.93 rounded. That was it. Don't complicate the problem too much. 107. Okay, we did this first tank. This first tank A, not proportional. Okay, doesn't go through the origin. Okay, it is a straight line, but does not go through the origin. Does not go through origin. 0, 0. Second one is proportional, right? It goes through the origin, and if it goes through the origin, we can find the unit rate. And to find the unit rate is where the value x equals 1 and y equals whatever value. And if you look at x equals 1, this point right here, I can't tell what it is. I don't know from the y-axis what the coordinate is. So I need to find a better point. And in this case, if you look at 2 matches exactly. So 2 I can actually identify. It's 2 and 600. I can use that to find my unit rate. Well, 2 gallons or 2 minutes, 600 gallons, right? So that's what that says. This is my X and this is my Y. And if I want to find, so you don't have to do K equals Y over X. You can write that as a fraction. So we can say that 600 gallons in 2 minutes. I can change that to a unit rate, right? So change that to 1 minute. That's easy enough. Divided by 2 or divided by 2, and we get 300 gallons per minute. Or if you wanted to do Y over X, you get K. Our constant proportionality is 300, which, as you can tell, is also a unit rate. (108) A pine tree measured what? Over the next 7 years, it grew to a height of 57 feet. During the 7.5 year, what was the average yearly growth? Yearly growth of the rate of the height of the tree. So the tree grew 57 feet. And so let me write that. So the tree grew 50. Let me understand this. The true. Grew and true together. Unbelievable. 57 feet in 7.5 years. So we want the growth per year. Again, just a unit rate problem. How much did it grow in 1 year? You have a calculator. I'm going to repeat that. So you can actually, well, to show your work, set up your proportion. We can divide this by 7.5 and divide this by 7.5. And we get 57 divided by 7.5 equals 7.6 feet. If you did it in fraction, that's fine. In 1 year, or 7 and 3/5 in 1 year. So it doesn't matter which way you wrote it. Okay, so if you did ky over x, that's okay too. You would have used the same numbers, 57 over 7.5, which, 57. Wait a second. 57 over 7.5, which would have given you that your constant proportionality, K is 7.6. Okay, which is also your unit rate. Whoa, hang on a second, that's completely not correct. Okay, so I forgot. Ignore everything. So the tree was 40. So let me draw a tree. I should have drawn it to begin with. Here's a nice tree. Okay. And then it grew to 57. That was 57. So the tree grew 57 minus 40.5. The tree grew 16.5 feet. And that's the number I should have used. I apologize. So we want to know how much it grew every year. Right? What was the average growth per year? So we go 16.5 feet. That was the growth. Divided by 7.5. I'm just going to write as a decimal. Divided by 7.5 years. What was the average per year? So divide by 7.5. Divide by 7.5. And we got an answer of 2.2. Ugh, sorry. 2.2 feet a year. Okay, so that was what I completely forgot to do. That's for me now. That's what I get from not reading the question. 109. Oh, yeah. The coach wants to buy new shoes for 12 players. There's a 20% discount. The shoes are $70 to $50. A 6.5% tax will be applied. And the other store is $54.75. There's a 9% processing fee applied to the cost of shoe, plus a shipping fee of $5.99 for each pair. What's the difference in the total between store A and store B? Okay, that's basically. So let's do store A. Problem with questions like this is that you guys honestly don't do any of the shopping. And really familiar with what a processing fee and what a shipping fee is, so I'm not too fond of these questions. All right, let's go. So store A, $72.50. You get a 20% discount, so that means we're going to pay for 80% of the shoes. And there's a sales tax. Sales tax of sales tax of 6.5%, so that's going to take it to 1.065. So that's for one shoe, right? So let's find out how much one shoe at store A would be. 72.50 times 0.8 times 1.065. So one shoe in that store is $61.77. But not buying one shoe, we're buying 12. Multiply that by 12, and the total cost in store A would be $741.24. In store B, it's already at a cheaper price, $54.75. Processing fee will be applied to the cost of the shoes for each pair. Okay, so think of this processing fee as tax. So for each shoe, we add a little tax. It's not called tax, it's processing fee. Right? And if you multiply those two, your shoe just went up in price, 54.75 times 1.09. It is now, your shoe is now $59.68. Now, I'm only doing one shoe. So, and for each shoe, they have to pay for shipping. So 59.68 plus 5.99. Yeah, this is a horrible question. Plus 5.99. So each shoe in this store is $65.59. We're going to order 12 of those. And the total here is $787.08. So, and if you subtract that value, this value over here, and this value, it would be 787.08 minus 741.24, $45.84. Why am I getting a different answer over here? Chotto mate. Let me just see if I did this correctly. 72.5 times 20% discount, 0.8 times tax, 1.065. That's 61.77. Multiply that by 12. So that one looks good. Part B, 54.75 times 1.09, 9% processing fee, which is 59.68. Okay, I'm okay with that. And then to that, we're going to add 5.99 for each shoe, which takes us to 65.67. Why can't I? Okay, so sorry, this number here is wrong. It's 65.67. So now, sorry, that's the final price. So 65.67 times 12. That gives us 788.04, which now we can subtract that and this value, and 78.04 minus 741.24. Now that it gives us an answer, a difference in value of $46.80. So that's the final answer. Yikes. 110. Okay, so she buys camera. She bought the cameras for $65 and included 60% markup to get the sale price. So she's going to increase that camera by 60% so she can make some profit. So we're going to take that to 1.60 and 65 times 1.6. That's literally it. The answer is $104. That's how much she would sell her cameras for. Okay. Too simple of a question. Compared to that previous one, 111, friends were for lunch. There was a tax tips and all that stuff. See, I don't like this problem because look, they're adding tip after the sales tax was added, which goes against everything that I've been telling you guys. So it just confuses you. So be really careful reading the question. So we have $37.50. Let's do it. So you know what? I'm right. Food, tax, and tip. So this is in this particular problem, we can actually do. I don't want to do that, but this particular problem, because the tax was added to the total of the sales tax and the food, you can actually just do this problem like this. 1.08 and then 1.18. So 37.5 times what? 1.08 times 1.118. That gives us a total of $47.79. Okay, that would have been the total. But you know what? Again, I'm not reading the question. So it says, what's the amount in dollars of the sales tax? So they actually, but let's just leave this for later. So food, $37.50. They want to know what the tax is. They actually want to know what the tax is. So you would do $37.50. So let me take this down here. $37.50 times 0.08. So $37.50 times 0.08. The tax itself, it's $3. There. That would have been the answer to part A. You would show this, $37.50 times 0.08, and that's the answer. The tip part. The tip part, what they're actually saying here is that to calculate the tip, they want you to add these. So that would be $40.50. Now they want you to tip on that value, which is so weird. Okay. So we gotta take 40.50, tip him 18%, so 1.18. They're not asking you what the tip was. They're asking you what was the total amount the group paid, including tax or tip. We already know what the price is with the food and tax. Now let's calculate what the food and tip would be. So 40.50 times 1.18 takes us to $47.79, which is that answer I gave you before, right? $47.79. So this particular question, this would have been the straight way of doing it, but they didn't ask you to do that. They actually wanted you to show what the tax was and then calculate the tip on top of this amount here, which is food and tax, which again goes against everything I've told you. So go figure. We don't usually tip on the amount of the bill that includes the tax. All right, so hardware store. 29, the hardware store. Created flyers. Okay, a portion of the flyers shown below. Going floor advertise the same type of carpet at a cost 10% less per square foot. Determine the cost of 700 square feet at carpet if it is bought by Gillian Floor. So Gillian Floor is 10% of this. So let's find the relationship. So it says here that the cost, and what do we want to buy? 700 square feet. So how much would 700 square feet cost at this store? Well, this is my Y and this is my X, right? The cost here depends on these square footage. So if you did KY over X, you get 750 over 500. And 750 divided by 500 equals $1.50. So it means that each square feet is $1.50. So Y equals $1.50. Y equals 1.5X. And if you took any of the other ones, 1,500 divided by 1,000, 2,500 divided by 1,500, you would get this value, 1.5. So every square foot equals $1.50. So if you buy 700 square feet, let's just multiply that by 700. You're paying $1,050. So now Gilliam, which is a competitor, actually knows this, and they are going to sell it for 10% less. So Gillian is going to take that 1,050 and going to say, I'm going to sell that for 10% less. 10% less means you're paying for 90%, right? After the 10% discount. So 1,050 times 0.9 gives you 940. So if you went to Gillian floors, that's how much you would pay, $945, because that's 10% less than this guy right here. 113 statistics. Oh, you haven't done this, but we'll see how much you can. James surveyed the students in his class to determine how they scored in a game. He displayed his results in the table shown, which histogram represents the data in the table. All right, so histograms. All right, 0 to 4 is 5. So if you look at 0 to 4 from the range of 0 to 4 points, 5 students scored that. And this says 7, so right away this is garbage. This one is okay. 0 to 5. This one is okay too. This one is garbage, so this one we can cross out. And this one cross out. Just obvious because 0 to 4 says 10 students. Doesn't match. So 5 to 9. This says 10 students. Well, 5 to 9 here says 6 students. So this one is gone, and this one matches. 10 to 14 is 3. That matches. And 15 to 19 is 7, and that matches. Oh, it's too easy. Sarah's playing a board game. The probability that she will score in her next turn is 1/3. Which statement describes the probability that Sarah will score on her next turn? Is it likely? No. Is it certain? No. Is it unlikely? Well, it's so 1 out of 3 is 33.3% chance of it happening, right? So definitely, I wouldn't describe it as unlikely. Definitely not certain, because that would be 100%. Unlikely. Unlikely is the one that you want, right? It's unlikely, but it may happen. Impossible, it's not impossible. So that one is garbage. So 114 is C. Where are we? The owner of a store, let's say, knows that in the last 54 customers paid in cash, 42 paid with a debit card, and 153 paid with a credit card. Debit card, credit card. Based on the number of customers from last week, which fraction is closest to the probability that the next customer will pay with cash? Well, how many people are we talking about? 54, 42, and 153. So you should add those first to find the total. That is 6, 9, 14. There were 249 customers. So out of 249 customers, how many paid with cash last week? 54 paid with cash. So, which fraction is closest to the probability that the next person will be paying with cash? So the probability that the next person will pay with cash is 54 out of 249, which rounds, and then if you take a moment to divide that, it's about 21, well, if you round it, 22%. So the closest to that, this one is 20%. This one is 25%. This is 33 point something percent. Let's just round. This is 50%. So, based on what happened last week, right? 54 out of 249 paid with cash. That's about 22%. So the closest one would be, I was a little bit unsure about whether they would choose A or B, but the closest one is definitely 20%. 116, Henry has a fair number pyramid with 4 faces and a spinner with 3 equal sized color sections. The possible outcomes for each. Okay, what's the probability that the number pyramid will land on 3 and the spinner will land on blue? Okay, probability that the pyramid will land on 3 is 1 out of 4, right? The chance of you getting this number on the pyramid is 1 out of 4. Times, what's the probability that this spinner is going to land in blue? It's 1 out of 3. So if you multiply, right, 1 over 4 times 1 over 3, you get 1 over And our final answer is definitely 8. Right, they're both independent events, and we'll talk about this. Okay. And if that's the case, all you got to do is multiply the probability of the first one times the probability of the second one. Okay. 117. The school bus ride scheduled. Sorry, 8. Okay. The ride's supposed to arrive at her stop at 8:20 every morning. The table below shows the actual number of times the bus for several days. Based on the data, what's the probability that the bus will arrive at Eve's stop tomorrow before 8:20? Well, first of all, let's count how many times we recorded this event. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So out of the 20 times, how many times did it come before 8:20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So based on this experiment, right, 7 out of 20 times the bus came before 8:20. So what's the probability that tomorrow it will be the same? What's the probability that tomorrow it will arrive before 8:20? Well, based on this experiment, it looks like she has a 7 out of 20 chance of that happening, which is about 35% chance that tomorrow her bus will come early. Alright, so that's the next section, 105 to 117.